I made these titanium sunglasses to save money. Titanium is expensive, but these weren't that expensive. They're cheaper to make than buying regular Ray-Ban sunnies. And I made these. I mean, of course I made way more than just this pair, and in different materials. And these titanium ones aren't even the ones I wear daily now, but they are the coolest. The last few months I've been designing, printing, and repeating to get these where they are today. But first, let's start at the very beginning with my last pair of Ray-Bans. I live in Sydney, Australia, which means that the sun is trying to kill us, along with everything else. So to try and save my eyes, I've been wearing Ray-Ban Justins for about 10 years now. And when I first bought them, they were $120. Now they're $207, and that's just too much. So it turns out you can buy lenses on the internet for lower cost than brand new. In my case, they're 40 Aussie dollars. So if I lose my sunnies while swimming in the ocean, yes, I know it's stupid, that was my third pair of Bondi, no, I'm not gonna stop. It means I'm spending $167 just for a good pair of frames. So I say, stuff that noise. I've got a 3D printer and I'm annoyed enough to spend too much time to save a little bit of money. I'm not going to talk about this robot in this video, by the way, so don't get your hopes up. Subscribe for robots! Starting with the basic design using these Ray-Bans, I took pictures of my sunglasses from different angles and tried to trace it on Fusion 360. Once I had a basic shape, I printed them out and they were perfect from the very start.
Oh. What was that?
Nothing. Of course I didn't get it right on the first go, but luckily PLA is very easy to work with, so I moved quickly. The arms are too loose on my face, so I had to adjust the hinges. The lens frame was too fragile, so I had to thicken it. The arm joints were too fragile, so I had to thicken them as well. The frame rested weirdly on my nose, so I added a nose rest. Each time I got a bit closer to something I could use every day. I started sanding them to get the final finish closer to what I could buy in store, and it was surprisingly easy with 400 grit sandpaper, although it took an hour or so. I even spray painted them, and of course I had to add a personal touch to the sides. And finally, each pair cost me less than $1 in filament to print. Now this entire time I've been prototyping in PLA, which is the standard filament for 3D printing. And one day I went out for drinks and I dropped them on concrete. PLA is fairly strong and rigid, to a point. It's too brittle for my needs. This is the part of the video where you find out it's no longer about sunglasses anymore. It's about material science. This chart shows the strength strain maps of different filaments. PLA is strong, but only until it snaps. Others like TPU almost never fail, but deform too much for sunglasses. According to this chart, ABS and PETG had less strength than PLA and also snap too. I want a material that doesn't fail. I want something that's tougher than concrete and wins the fight every time.
Did you know you can 3D print stainless steel?
I've actually done this before with my wedding rings. I have a gold one for special occasions, but these 3D printed stainless steel ones are durable, light, and great for everyday use. And if I lose one, it was only $8. Now I don't have a metal 3D printer, but these guys do. So I sent them the files, ignored their warnings because I totally know what I'm doing, sent them money, and a week later, I got my 3D printed stainless steel sunglasses. I designed these to load my lenses from the top, but then realized the lens slots were too narrow. The PLA and the lenses were both probably flexing to allow these lenses in. It was at this point I should have realized my mistake, that the PLA frame and the lenses were not the only things flexing. 1 week later, and my second pair fits perfectly. They fit perfectly. They slipped in without any fuss and they're not under any tension at all. I did sand the front so I could get close to a mirror finish, but this material is tough. I had to use my Dremel and went through a few sanding rolls just to get the front shiny. Despite how well it all came together, there's another problem. They don't flex at all. Any bending is actually the tiny stainless steel hinge screws giving way. I can't put them on normally because the arms stab my temples. Also, they're heavy, weighing in almost 6 times as much as my PLA or original sunglasses. So not only do I have to put them on weird, they squeeze against my head and hurt my nose. And they're super expensive at $80. Alright, let's just scratch out stainless steel. PLA is too brittle and steel is not flexible enough and too heavy. There are some materials that just keep bending without breaking, but are more stiff than TPU. For example, PA6, otherwise known as nylon. It's not as rigid as PLA, but apparently it's one of the toughest materials and basically doesn't break.
Nylon seems perfect. What could possibly go wrong?
Alright, these look and feel amazing. They're so light and super flexible. Look at this. And they just cost over $1 to print. Just in time too. I'm going on a 3-day motorcycle ride. See you in a bit. These were a mistake. So it turns out that while these are super flexible, they don't keep their shape over time. I put these in my backpack when it started to rain and they're flat after 3 hours. I think this is called deformation creep. And according to this chart by MyTechFun, nylon is the worst at it. Alright, let's summarize what we know so far. PLA is good except it's too brittle. Stainless steel is super strong but too heavy and inflexible. Nylon is better than both but can't retain its shape over time. Where else can we go with this?
You can order 3D printed titanium now. You know, $130 is cheaper than Ray-Bans.
Fuck, alright, sure. Okay, these are way lighter than stainless steel, and there's enough flexibility that the lenses can just pop right in. I also didn't bother standing them this time. They look amazing straight out of the box. They don't squeeze too hard on my temples, and they're just light enough to stay on my nose. And they weigh 85 grams, 3 times as heavy as my PLA or original Ray-Bans. But they're still too stiff and jab my temples every time I try to put them on normally. In all seriousness, besides the whole putting it on thing, they feel light and solid, look great, and anyone who finds out they're like titanium are like, that's so freaking cool. These are awesome. Forget aircraft grade, this is space grade. I could make them work, they look great, but being unable to slip them on normally is still a deal breaker. I could redesign the hinges to incorporate springs, but there has to be a better way. Oh, why is this so annoying? It shouldn't be this hard to find a material for sunglasses. Actually, you know what? What did the industry use? What's polycarbonate? Polycarbonate is almost as stiff as PLA, it's tougher than nylon, and retains its shape every time. It's the Goldilocks filament. But there's only pain from this point on. It's one of the most challenging filaments to print. I'm not going to relive all my failures. I'm just going to show you the steps it takes to get one pair of sunglasses printed. These are the secret ingredients. These are the religious prayers. These are the songs to the machine god. Dry the filament for 8 hours and keep humidity below 20%. Preheat the print bed for 15 minutes at 110 degrees centigrade. Enclose the entire printer and keep the internal temperature above 30 degrees. 20 millimeters of brim. Organic 20 millimeters of brim. 10 millimeters of first layer. Print the perimeter layers. 110% infill. Keep the arms and Z contact distance 1 millimeter separately. Print the frame separately. Print the frame. Remove supports. And then sand. Sand like a monk for 5 hours. Congratulations, you've just made your first pair of sunglasses. It only cost you 10 hours of your life and just under $2. These are now my daily sunglasses. They're light, strong, flexible, keep their shape over time, and cheap to make. I made them, and I can make more of them whenever I want, so I don't mind losing a pair.